Stronger together. Stronger, stronger together.
Hey, it's Karel, and welcome to another edition of Karel Life in Segments. Now, before we get things rolling and you get all the knowledge and have all the fun with all the different segments, I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about being festive, which is why, of course, I'm wearing sequins, because nothing says festive like sequins. I wanted to talk to you about the importance of holidays. You know, it is so easy, particularly over the holidays, to be annoyed by holidays. Now, my best friend Karen and I were joking, because we joke around sometimes about what we're going to put on our tombstones. It's sort of fun at the time, I guess. Doesn't seem creepy when we talk about it. But on mine, we were going to say, he loved holidays, because I love holidays. Not just the song, holiday, but actual holidays. I think they're great. I celebrate holidays. I celebrate Jewish holidays. I'm not even Jewish. I celebrate Christian holidays. I will celebrate. I never met a holiday I did not want to celebrate. And so I will celebrate just about anything. And I think it's important, and here's why. In today's world, according to research, we are killing ourselves. Quite frankly, we're working ourselves to death. We're dropping dead. People between the age of 45 and 54, if they are white and American, guess what? They're actually dropping dead more than people from other countries, and they're doing it miserably. Why? Because they don't celebrate enough. You should take holidays very, very seriously, and particularly birthdays. I hate these people who say, don't make a big deal about my birthday. I don't want to do anything for my birthday. You know what? That's a whole bunch of bullcrap. Meet the birthday banner at Park Howard. 17 years ago, we bought this to put up for a birthday. It has now been put up, as my crew here will attest, because they've been here many a times. It has now been put up at every birthday celebrated here. So it's been up over 100, possibly 200 times. And why? Because if I can spend the entire month of November and December celebrating the birth of a fictional being, I can certainly take a day to celebrate my friends. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to remember that we are not getting out of this alive. So every chance you get to celebrate, celebrate. This last Halloween, I sat at home. I sat at home. A national gay holiday. And I sat at home. Why? I was a little depressed. Don't be. Don't be deprived of holidays. Enjoy them in the way that you want to. Enjoy your birthday in the way that you want to, but be sure you're enjoying them. Because I can give you the stats, but guess what? We're becoming an unhappy nation. And one of the great ways to become happier is to celebrate holidays. So, my birthday was November 7th. I'm sure we by now have celebrated that. We better have. We're going to be celebrating lots more birthdays, anniversaries. We're going to celebrate independence of our country. And we're going to celebrate New Year's. And we're going to celebrate Valentine's Day. And we're going to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day, because why not say I love you to the people around you? We are going to celebrate all holidays. Why? Because we're going to have a little fun. That's why. Now, would it be wrong if I hung this up in advance of my birthday next year? Since this year I'm sure I didn't get everything I wanted, I could attach a list. Oh, we could go into a whole topic about that. Ain't nothing wrong with giving people a list of what you want for your birthday. I'm telling you right now, you can even post it online if you want to. These people who say, oh, being a list is tacky. No. Let people know what you want for your birthday so you get the right stuff. Don't leave it up to your friends. They don't know what to buy you. Oh, no. Put a list out, child. That's what I do. For other holidays, too, have a good time. We're not going to get out of this alive, for the love of God. Wear sequins for no reason. I am over here in Ireland yet again, and if you haven't been, you should come. And you find yourself in the most extraordinary situations with the most extraordinary people. Now, I was just at a pub, and what do you know? Just like in a joke, two transsexuals walk into a pub. And they did, actually, and sat with us as part of our group. Now, had I not seen this gentleman's movie, I might have asked them some terribly ridiculous questions. But because I knew what not to ask them, I was safe. Lee is here with us, and his last name is Dalloway. I did not call him Mrs. Dalloway, although I was going to.
You wanted to.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
And he works at BBC 3 as well as Attitude Magazine, and he's here as part of the outing. which is an annual gay and lesbian matchmaking and music festival held here in the beautiful Westin Lisbon, Vorna. First of all, Heidi.
Hello.
Why you're not transgendered? So,
No.
Why a movie about what not to say to transgendered people? Do you have a transgendered friend or relative?
I have several transgendered friends actually. I used to be a magazine editor as well of a gay magazine. I came into contact with a lot of trans people. I really do believe that in terms of equality and recognition, trans are the next gay.
Is the
gay
next,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's up to us, you know, as the LGB part of LGBT to kind of push things forward.
How do you feel about that alphabet soup? We do an ongoing segment on my show about alphabet soup because I'm not a lesbian, I'm not transgendered, you know, I'm a gay man, and yet it seems like society finds a sexual proclivity and throws a letter on us. Which, okay, I'm all for inclusion and diversity, but at the same time, we each have unique issues. Lesbians have different issues than gay men who have different issues than transgendered. So it worries me that sometimes when we glom them all together because we are also very different.
Yeah, I do agree with that too, because our experiences are very different from lesbians and from transgender people, but I think the point is we're both, or have at least been, a minority at some point, and sexuality and gender are very different things, and maybe we shouldn't be
Right, I
together.
like my penis, I'm fine. Not that they don't like their, you know, it's so funny. I am of the generation where I'm completely politically incorrect about transgendered people, and yet I have so many transgendered friends. You know, it's still hard for me to not use the word tranny. I mean, it really is, because that's what we called people in the 70s and 80s.
I get that.
But now we don't. Now, in your movie, if you haven't seen it, it's what not to say to a transgendered person. It's available everywhere. We just watched it online. Where did we watch it online at?
You can watch it on YouTube, on the BBC Three YouTube channel.
When did you decide to be transgender?
When did you decide to be a human being?
Well, I think I just woke up one day in 2008 and thought, oh, this will be a laugh.
I don't think you decide to be transgender,
It's
do you?
there, you know, you discover it.
My whole childhood was just basically like, you're a boy, you can't play with that. You're a boy, you can't do that. You're a boy, no, no, no. And every night I'd go to bed and I'd be like, God, why don't they understand that I'm not a boy?
You know, being gay isn't quite extreme enough, so I'll just be transgender. I don't know, when you don't decide to be transgender.
Have you had the op?
Have you had the op?
Daily. Daily people ask you that, all the time.
Well, I had quite a few of them. Which are we referring to?
Exactly, and that's the thing, you know, those old tropes that they have in the media about sex swap, sex op, the surgery. I mean, if you talk to any trans person, or even if you Google it, you'll know that, you know, there's no just one surgery, you know, to have.
It's actually a series of 5 operations for guys, so the op is so decades ago now.
When people ask me, so when are you getting it? You know, la 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 la, then I'm like, you know what? I can do it tomorrow. Give me the money.
Yeah.
Give me the money, let's do it.
If it's not, have you had the op, it's just, when are you having the op? Or have you thought about the op?
Do you know what?
What about the op?
It's expensive, you know, and for me, I'm trying to pay for everything myself, you know. I don't want help from the government, you know, because here in England I can ask for it and it's amazing, you know. I appreciate it, but I want to, if I can, I want to pay for it myself.
It's really funny, and I think that's what makes it so powerful, is that you were able to get these people who have had to suffer these questions for so long to really just open up about it. When you made the film, did you find yourself guilty of asking any of the questions that they said they hate being asked?
Well, because I cast all of those people, and they were all wonderful. It is a little tricky because you have to keep yourself in check when you're doing a film like that as well. But I think the main point that I wanted to do it was because if we don't, as gay people, help push things forward, then how can we expect straight people who may never come into contact with a trans person?
Right.
How can we expect
Or
them to
know that they've
understand?
come in contact with a trans person?
Completely, and these people, they do hear this stuff daily. I got those questions from speaking to them, and we whittled it down actually to
Did any
those
of the
10 or
questions
11
shock
questions.
you or surprise you? Like, people actually ask you that?
It wasn't so much the questions, it was the responses. Like when one woman on the in the film Paris, she said that people, you know, they grab her boob and put their hands between her legs, and you just
well, you just don't do that in polite
you just
company.
don't do that to anyone.
Right.
But it's kind of, I think...
Well, you can do it to me, but...
well, I'm moved.
Yeah, but not to someone you don't know.
No, but I think, you know, and a lot of trans people, I think they feel like they're on show or something, or
really,
they're kind of circus freaks when they're really not. They're human beings.
We are all discussing Caitlyn Jenner's penis, are we not?
We're all discussing Caitlyn Jenner.
I mean, let's be real. Caitlyn was just declared a female under the law, and a lot of people are saying, but wait a minute, she has a penis. And so suddenly, Bruce Jenner's penis is a matter of conversation.
Which it shouldn't be.
Right, but I think that there's this innate curiosity in people, because I don't want this to come out in any other way. Dr. Laura, I don't know if you know who Dr. Laura is.
I do.
We were on the same radio station as Laura. And Laura had said that being gay is a biological error. And she got into a whole bunch of crap for that. I told Laura after she said that, had you said it's a biological anomaly, I would have agreed. Because we're 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 8, so there's not a ton. You know, it's not like we're a prevalent thing in society. And transgendered people are less than 0.5% of the population. So to many, unfortunately, they are an oddity because they've never seen one, they've never met one.
It's true, and it's human curiosity. It's understandable, but why I wanted to make that film was those people, maybe if they wouldn't have to ask those questions, because they're still people. 1%,
So what can you
90%.
ask? I mean, if you made the film, you heard these people. Today, when I was speaking with one of the transgendered ladies, you know, I asked her, when did you make your transition? And she told me. It was funny because I said, well, if you've made the transition, then should I call you just a woman? Or do I call you a trans woman?
I think it's as they said in the film, you go on what that person is. I think if that person presents themselves to you as a woman, you should just have a regular conversation with them. If they choose to bring up the trans issue, then like, yeah, obviously you can talk about it. If they want to be called a woman, you would refer to them as a woman. You go on the individual. I think it's that simple, really.
Right. And unfortunately, especially with transgendered, because people are, how do I say it? There's probably usually a lot of fear. A person gets a little nervous sometimes if they've never had an encounter with a trans person and they find out they are. And then they start being so afraid they're going to say something wrong, they say something wrong.
Yeah.
I think that the patience, I mean, let's be real. How many times have you been asked, are you a top or a bottom?
I mean, completely. Yeah.
You know, people find out you're gay and are you top or are you a bottom? I'm always like, well, what day is it, honey? You know,
there's
like,
this set questions for people. And
there really are, but there aren't for straight people.
No, and this is kind of the point I wanted to make. You know, straight people are in the majority, and going back to your previous question, trans people, like, they get asked these questions a lot, so they're probably used to it. But I thought if we can do our little bit to not just continually
it
ask
helped me
every
today.
day.
No, it truly did help me today.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
because I was interacting with these two trans people, and because I saw, and the people in your film are so affecting. They're so
Thank you.
real and honest, and some of them you just want to hug them and say, you're fabulous, you know, or I want to party with you, you know, that sort of thing.
So, how do you have sex?
What do you do in bed? Oh my God.
How do you have sex? Fabulously.
What do you do in bed, you know? Like, it's all
Sleep.
courses.
Sleep.
Well, mostly
I
eat
sleep
ice cream.
I sleep a lot. There's crumbs from a whole lot of rich cheese.
Sexy.
Yeah.
I don't generally want to have that conversation with someone if I'm not considering sleeping with them or having them as a partner. You know?
I don't go around asking strangers what they do in bed with other people, so why do they think it has license to ask me?
Now, I know that you're here covering the outing for Attitude Magazine, but your film was very powerful at only 8 minutes, so are you going to make more?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process. I've just finished another film about racial microaggressions, which is...
What is that? Did you swear at me?
No, it's about those little things that we kind of just accept in daily life. Like when someone says to me, oh, where are you from? Or where are you really from? As if insinuating that I'm not from Britain. When you say...
Where do they think you're from?
Well, I don't know, because I could be from anywhere. So sometimes it's curiosity. They just want to know. But sometimes I think...
No, you're Ethiopian.
Anything. And things like you don't...
And it matters why.
Well, exactly. And things about things when they say to black people, well, you don't act black, you don't talk black. I think those little things, I want to pose the question, are we being too sensitive or PC about that? Or does that lead to more overt racism?
I think with that, it depends on the person.
Because and the intention.
Right, and the intention. Because I do a thing in my comedy act about words. And I say, you know, this whole idea of hate speech. You can call me whatever you want to, so long as you're not hitting me. If you're hitting me, I don't care what you're calling me. Just stop hitting me.
Yeah.
You could be saying you're the most weird teapot in the world, and suddenly teapot's a hate crime, but because of their intent is to harm.
Yeah.
And so if like. I hate people who say, I have a ton of black friends, because that acts like everybody doesn't. But my African American friends, they say a lot of what we say as gays, like, oh, are you a top or your bottom? You know, they'll get asked, do you have any relatives in Africa? Or, you know, do you all like chicken? Or whatever. I mean, and yet, when I was at Soul Train, I used to go to Soul Train a lot with my friends, Vesta or Patti LaBelle, different people. I swear to God, in every dressing room was a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's what the craft services was, in every single dressing room. Now, is that a stereotype? I mean, you're at Soul Train and there's a bucket of chicken?
As you said, it's the intent, and I'm not just talking about like it's white people asking black people.
Right.
I mean, it's all of us. It's Asian people to other Asian people. It's black people to black people. I think it's all about respect fundamentally, and I want to make films that will make people respect each other a little more. I think that's lacking in a lot of the world.
I was going to say, good luck with that. Because, you know, in America, we just seem to be rewarding the worst kind of behavior possible. I mean, Donald Trump is the biggest xenophobe in the world.
I know, but I think that's just the media kind of putting it out there. One because it gets hits, it gets ratings,
Right.
it gets like newspapers sold. But I think the majority of people, you know, they don't subscribe to a lot of those theories.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. 42% of Americans in a Gallup poll just said they wouldn't elect a Muslim president. And I'm like, what's that about? I mean, I think I'm an atheist, so I think they're all crazy. So it's like one kind of crazy is the same as the other kind of crazy. Who cares?
Well, I'm an eternal optimist, and I always try and see the good in people. And I hope when it comes down to it that people just wouldn't be dicks, basically.
Right. No, that's, and when you talk, it's interesting, I've never heard the term microaggressions. But now that I think about them, I think if we look around every day, we can all hear little things that are like, that's a little dig, or that's a little jab, or that's a little... And I do wonder if you get all of those pinpricks, do they start to hurt like a stab after a while?
Well, yeah, the analogy is kind of like if you have a rucksack on and you just place little rocks in the back, eventually those rocks are going to weigh you down, you know?
Right,
and I just think it's those little things. I don't think we should be like ultra PC. We should take life so seriously. But as you said, it's the intent. Right. I believe that if the intent behind it should be good.
Now let's talk a little bit about the outing. Yeah. We're in the west of Ireland with a group of gays. We went marching down the middle of the street of Lisbon.
With a giant flag.
With a giant rainbow flag. Did you ever think you'd find yourself in the west of Ireland marching down the street with a giant rainbow flag at a matchmaking event?
No, but do you know what was lovely? Because it's this little town, as I'm sure you've told your viewers. Sleepy little town, what is it, 800 people?
Yeah, 800 people, one street.
One street, and this guy, we were there waving the flags and having a good jolly. And this guy, one of the locals, he came, he stopped his car, rolled down his window and said, can I take a picture? And that was,
I mentioned that on my radio show today. I was so touched by that.
It was so
and
lovely.
Other residents were waving and saying hello, and I'm like, I wasn't having epithets hurled at me, or it's like, people were like, hello!
And that's why I say it gives me hope, because if you do things, if you put this in front of people, if you break things down, then people get to see other different kinds of people. Right. We get to learn from each other and we get to respect each other.
Now, are you single?
I am single.
So, as a single gay man myself, and at a matchmaking festival, let me ask you, do you think technology has made it easier or harder to be single in the 21st century?
Harder. This is a good one to ask me, actually, because I'm personally, I'm not...
I don't use Grindr, Tinder,
I don't use Grindr, Tinder.
You order pizza online, not a makeup.
Exactly. I'm one of those freaks who will go up to someone in the street and start
talking to them. Yeah. That's not a freak, that's what I do as well.
I think that makes us freaks. I think we freaks.
And then they put down their device and they're frightened that someone's speaking to them.
But it's the art of conversation. You wouldn't go up to someone in a bar and go, hey, how are you? And they turn around and go, block. That just wouldn't happen.
Or you say, hi, how are you? And they drop their drawers immediately. Because on these apps you say hello and all of a sudden there's their junk right in front of you. Right, yes, exactly. Hello, fuck. No, I said hello. It's like, so I myself think it's very hard to be single in the 21st century because people, they seem to think there's this vast pool out there because of all these apps, so they don't have to settle. They don't have to make a decision. They don't have to actually take time to get to know somebody. They'll go out with them for coffee for 20 minutes or tea, and if they don't even if it's not like fireworks at the first moment, they're back on their app.
It's an instant gratification world that we live in now, and I just really feel that it's nice to kind of, to use an old word, court someone. It's nice to have a little bit of romance and have things happen organically.
And how about some mystery? I don't need to see it all until I ask to see it all.
Exactly, and what am I going to find out from a little postage stamp size of picture and someone
Which you
saying,
know is 10 years old.
do you know what I mean? It's just like, honey, you got a Spice Girls poster in the back. It's just like, please.
Well, it's been a delight. Your movie is a delight, and I
Thank
think
you.
it has helped a lot of people, actually.
so.
It did go viral. I saw it in the U.S. and on Facebook, and I think that it helped me, and I'm sure it's helped a lot. If you haven't seen it, it could help you, because one day you will meet, whether you know it or not, a transgendered individual. And when you do, you'll know what not to say to them from Lee's movie. Thanks for joining me, and
Thank
now
you for
we're going to
having
go
me.
meet other single gay men, and there's no Wi-Fi here, so none of them can use an app.
God, it's a new world.
It's our world.
Let's
It's
go
our-
matchmake.
Who knew that our town was Lisbon-Borna?
Let's take a stand, don't let our substance go to waste. Amazing, we all go through changes when problems won't leave us alone. Sooner or later, the worst will get better, and better is where you are. Life is amazing.
All righty dighty then, it is the Karelcast. I am Karel. So very glad you are joining me. By the way, Karel's birthday is October 30th. October 30th, 1992 is when Karel first went out onto the stage as Karel. Quite a night that was. I opened with Queen of the Night from the movie The Bodyguard, because why wouldn't I? Gave me a chance to wear a cape. And why wouldn't I? All right, what the hell is wrong with you people? You don't know how much I am hearing that these days. I have traveled abroad, and I don't mean I've traveled with a broad. I mean I've traveled abroad. There were no broads on board. Maybe there was. Well, there was kind of one. What's her name? She could party. But I've been traveling abroad, and you know the media and the other people, the tourism people, and people you'd meet on the street. They used to be like, "Hey, America, yeah, America, blah blah," and now they're more like, "What the hell is wrong with you people?" And I'm kind of getting perplexed at trying to find that answer. I don't know. Do you? You know, I was having lunch recently with some donors to the show. They gave $1,000 through GoFundMe. And if you give $1,000 through GoFundMe, you get to have lunch or dinner with me. And so we did. And one of the things that they themselves were finding very hard to swallow was what's happening to us right in front of our own eyes. Why is all of this happening at such a breakneck pace, you know, right in front of us? And why aren't we doing anything about it? And that's really what the rest of the world is now wondering. It's like, okay, everybody has problems. I mean, my God, everybody's got problems. You know, but why aren't we doing anything about them? In fact, we choose to just be looking the other way on so many of them. And we're being sold a total bill of goods, you know, on most of them, and eating it up, just eating it up. You know, when you travel the world, which do you know that 40 million Americans will actually get out of America at some point? 40 million. Out of 315 million Americans. I'm not talking Canada, I'm not talking Mexico, although those are great places to go. I'm talking getting out of the country, leaving the, you know, the landmass that is the Americas and going someplace else. And if you do, okay, if you go out of America, you're going to get people looking at you like we have crack in the water. Like, what is going on? And do you see any solutions coming up? Now, look, I love everyone that's running for president, or if you're watching this after the election, whoever won, if they're not a Republican, fine, whatever. That's fine with me. But are they really going to make the changes that are going to make people stop asking you what the hell's wrong with you? It's like guns. How long do we have to keep having that fight, do you suppose? I mean, do you think I'll die and they'll still be having this ridiculous fight over firearms? Do you really want to go through? I'm kind of shocked that the gay marriage thing is now sort of over. I didn't think in my lifetime I would see an end to that. I never thought I'd see that kind of equality in my lifetime, even just in the marriage thing. But I'm so glad that I didn't have to spend my entire lifetime, you know, with the marriage equality issue. That's really cool. It's cool to actually have an issue solved and move on. Rare, but cool. When are we going to start doing that with other things so they'll stop asking, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Because I don't have any answers. I'm trying to I don't know, we have post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, we're totally out of our minds from 9/11 still. We never fully had a chance to grieve. You know, I don't know. What do we start telling them? That legal pot is prevalent and we're all just high? I don't know. Let's go back to the gun issue. I found out a lot of stuff recently about guns that sort of, you all know that I have one right now. I'm not going to get it again like I did last season, but if you didn't see me last season run in the house and get my gun and come back and show you my gun, I'm very torn because I want to get rid of it. I do. You know, I don't want it. But I've had people appear in my living room in the middle of the night that weren't invited. So what do you do there? You know, what do you do with that sort of situation? But at the same time, I'd be happy with a crossbow or a non-lethal weapon. You know, we have Back to the Future 2 Day every year. October 21st, 2015 was the celebration, the sort of the big deal. And I thought about the future. And I thought, what is wrong with us? Why don't we have the future that even they saw for us back then? You know, why don't we have a future where things are easier for a lot of us? And when I say easier, I don't just mean because a gadget will now open your door. I mean where your life is truly easier. How many of you can say that your life is truly easier now than it was 20 years ago? It's just changed. The workload has changed. The amount of work you do has changed. The devices you do has changed. But you're still working all those hours and you're still, you know, it's not easier. In fact, I think it's harder to live in our country in today's day and age because we won't solve problems. We will tell children, you must go to college. You must. Just for the parties and for the beer alone. But if you don't go to college, oh, you're not going to have a life. You're going to make less money. So we just pound into their head, go to college, go to college, go to college. And then we don't pay for it. I was just driving USC. My friend Daniel Charleston told me that it was $38,000 a year. 4 years, $160,000. That's a house. That's like, you know, and not even a bad house. I mean, that's not like a crack house. That's an okay house. I mean, if you do crack in it, that's fine. But, well, I mean, it's really up to you. It's your choice. I'm all for, you know, personal freedoms. But $160K debt for what? What the hell is wrong with us? Why are we telling our kids that you must go to college and then not paying for it? I want you to start using this mantra in your life. What the hell is wrong with us? You know, we fight over health care. I want you to name one patient that was saved by a health insurer. Name one patient that owes their life to Cigna or Blue Cross Blue Shield. None. You owe your life to the healthcare providers, but not to a health insurance company. So we let these middlemen get in the middle of us and the most important thing in the world, our healthcare. And they actually price us out and tell us what we can and what we cannot have. And we allow that. We let that happen. We say, oh, no, that system's fine. That's all good. That system's good with us. What the hell is wrong with us? Do you know how other countries look at us when they talk about it? I was just on a bus with journalists from all over the world, and they said, I can't believe in your country you get billed, that people go bankrupt. Number one source of bankruptcy, over medical bills. What country puts their people bankrupt over medical bills? Who does that? Who does that? Well, we do, of course. We excel at it. We drive more people into bankruptcy over medical bills than any other country. All right, I am Karel. This is the Karel Cast. We're going to be back right after this. Please don't go anywhere, because if you do, people are going to look at you and they're going to say, what the hell is wrong with you?
Don't
Hey, Karel Life in Segments is partially sponsored by PowerMax.com. They are Apple specialists that specialize in new, used, and trade-in. PowerMax, PowerMax.com. Hey, it's Karel, and I am so happy that portions of Cooking for the 99 are sponsored by All Clad Metal Crafters, makers of all-clad cookware, including the TK line made to inspire the chef in you. All-clad cookware. Portions of funding for Karel Life in Segments were given by the Progressive Voices Network through Tuned In. Progressive Voices. Always progressive, always on. The Progressive Voices Network, available through Tune In.